Hello. Happy Sunday. Good evening or good morning, depending on where you are located. Thank you for joining me today. Hi, Tanya. I hope that you are well. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate you. Today, the narcissist. The narcissist fears you. And that's really kind of it's not what we get to hear. It's not what we are, led to believe is the truth. A lot of the times, the narcissist is painted as somebody to be feared, somebody that is more superior than us, is more powerful, is more skillful. And it's only when we start to find out the truth about who they are, it's only as we begin to get stronger and see things for what they really are, that we get some type of awareness and some type of clarity as to who these people really are. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's a pop up surprise. It's Sunday and I'm here. But I wanted to just come up and spend some time with you tonight as we prepare for this new week, and as we let go of the weekend and last week, and just begin to get our headspace in the right place so that we can continue to go forward and remain strong and focus on the path that is ahead of us. So, one thing about the narcissist, we know that they're an empty shell. There is nobody home. If we could cut them up and dissect them, what we would find is that it's an empty shell, obviously, but it's dark, it's hollow. There's nothing really that is inside of them that they can identify to or with, because they have no personality. They have this opening within them that all they do is add parts of other people. It's like they're missing a piece of the puzzle that makes up who they are. They don't know who they are. They abandon their selves, and they sell out for the false self. And so it's like they take a piece of everybody that they interact with, and they become like little parts of a jigsaw puzzle, hoping that if I take a part of this person's soul and that person's soul and that person, I can piece together a whole person. But it's not really quite how this works. You can't take parts of people and think that that is going to complete you. And so the narcissist dedicates their lives. You're right, Tanya. They are really smelly. Remember, it's swamp water up in there. That's right, Lisa. They are really hollow. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, Tanya. Thank you for being here. So they spend years, hours, months, days, forever, decades crafting out this false self, this image that they want to project to the world. And it's so important to them that they defend the false self at all costs. And the false self, again, is nothing but a collection of other people. It's a collection of who the narcissist thinks, like the finer qualities of people that they want, that they've siphoned over time. And so it's just like really, guys, it's just it's a lot of confusion up in there. But their ultimate goal is always to protect this false self, because if it fell apart, then they would be lost, they would be exposed, they would be vulnerable, they would be weak, and we would just be here looking at them like, really, really. And so they become extremely defensive anytime we begin to question them, anytime we begin to poke, anytime we call them out on their lies. That's why they go so hard, is because they don't want to be, they don't want to be exposed. And so those are the moments we find them acting really arrogant, where that arrogance, they just act arrogant and so prideful, like they're untouchable. But the truth of the matter is that we know that that is all projection on their part, but it's also their demise, because once they become that arrogant and that prideful, they begin to open themselves up for more error. They kind of, put themselves out there, and we're able to see them a little bit better, because it's in those arrogant moments where they just throw caution to the wind and don't really care about what they're doing. So, this is kind of what I wanted to spend some time talking to you guys about tonight. Drop in any questions that you may have. I'll be very happy to come back and, answer some of the questions. But let's get back to this fearful narcissist. They are, they work so hard with this false persona. And I want you to really understand that they fear you. The narcissist fears you. Don't ever get it twisted. From miles away, before we even meet them, they can already spot you. They already see the aura that is around you. They're able to see the light that you exude. They see all the qualities that make you who you are, and they think to themselves, wow, I have to have this. And now let's take a step back right here. They say I have to have this, but whoever really has to have a part of a person is somebody who's not all the way there. Because when we see somebody that we may be attracted to, if we see somebody that we may be attracted to, what we will say is that I would like to get to know this person, but they're already being possessive. They're already being illegal, trying to claim authority, trying to claim ownership over something that is not theirs. We're not objects to be owned by a person. This is my phone. I own this because I bought it, but a narcissist cannot buy you. A narcissist cannot treat you like a cell phone, right? So they cannot own you, but they think to themselves, I have to have this. And that's the first mistake that they make, because what they really are expressing when they speak on the desire to have, to possess, to own, it's that aura that you exude. Now, let's not forget this. Like, please understand, the narcissist is on assignment. So a lot of the times we may get away from the fact. It doesn't matter if this is your mother, your father, your grandmother, it doesn't matter whether it's an intimate partner, your boss, whomever. They are on assignment. And so they have to work hard, not just to take you through the process and through the system of siphoning your soul, of hunting your soul. And when they hunt your soul, please, this is what they do, is like they will take those parts, those final qualities, how you hear is that the narcissist, likes certain things about you. They're attracted to certain qualities. It could be your intelligence. It could be your sphere of influence. It could be your finances. It could be your looks, whatever. They think that they can siphon those parts of your soul, those parts of you, and keep them in the soul bank that is within them. And so once they've got those parts, or they believe they have those parts of us, that's when they're comfortable to start getting sloppy and devalue and discard people, because they already have what they want. And so you're no longer useful. And so, so the narcissist now suddenly falls back into their arrogant and overconfident ways, and forget that, listen, they did not create you. They don't hold the key to you. They are not as powerful as they think. And so a lot of times you find that they will prematurely discard people. And now they have to go back and report to their master, who is like, but I thought, I told you to demolish this person. I thought I told you I wanted this person completely wiped out, and you didn't do the job. They're out here, skin is glowing, edge is laid, she's beat to the gods. His money's right. Their businesses are flourishing. They're actually they're actually going out and helping people and affecting change in neighborhoods and in society. I told you to siphon their soul so that they would not be able to do this. And so this is where this minion gets put in time out. Like, if you read in scripture, it talks to us about how, for the work that we do, we know that we're saved by faith through grace, right? It's not about our works, but our works do have a reward. There are different types of crowns that are to be obtained. There are different types of jewels that are in these different crowns. They all represent something. So if we have promotion and elevation within a godly realm, do you not think that there is no promotion and demotion within the demonic realm? Of course they are. Of course there is, should I say. And this is where we begin to see these minions be elevated into different positions when they complete their assignment. When they take out, think about it, when they take out a super empath, right? What kind of elevation do you think comes from that? That little minion is moved up to another level and is given a bigger target the next go round, right? Because they were able to do the job. If they fail at that, they're demoted. Sometimes they're even put in the timeout, because they did not complete the assignment. And this is why they are so passionate at what they do. And it's part of why they are unrelenting when it comes to, trying to hoover you, trying to get back at you. And this is why I think it was a video I did yesterday. It talked about that they come back with murder and with mayhem and murder. And that's only because they have to complete the job that was given before them. So, they're never going to be done. If you keep on surviving and you keep on thriving, they're going to keep on coming back because they have an assignment and they have to win. But again, this is about them being fearful of you. I just kind of deviated there for a moment because I wanted to bring that into perspective so that we can have a broader understanding of how this thing works. I usually have the book that I'm reading that I pulled a lot of this information from next to me, but it's I shared it one time on the community board. It is He Came to Set the Captives Free by Rebecca Brown. I'm going to pin it. I'll put it back on the community boards tomorrow if you're interested. This book really goes into detail to break down this woman's experiences with what she was able to witness within a spiritual realm. And I mean, many of us have had our own experiences. I've had mine that puts me in the position to say, I know what I know that this is true. And so, if you're somebody who is interested in reading and finding more about that, that is one book that I would highly recommend that you actually do pick up and read. The only thing that I would say to you is be sure that you are ready for this, because you do open yourself up to a level of spiritual attack, and it comes in many different ways. So you might want to be fasting prior to reading the book or through reading the book, as well as being very prayerful. But that book does not play. She really speaks about these experiences, and they are real. They are really real, So going back to the narcissist, they know that if they do not do the job properly. Okay, can somebody repeat the book? It is He Came to Set the Captives Free by Rebecca Brown. He Came to Set the Captives Free. So what the narcissist does is, like, we know that they leave a string of broken hearts behind them. And sometimes it's not necessarily that you're even in a relationship with a narcissist. Like, it could be your parent, it could be a friend, it could be a business partner, and the business deal simply goes wrong. You find sometimes that the narcissist retreats. Why would they retreat? Because they're scared. Like, guys, at the end of the day, this is a little dusty, raggedy behind, okay? I know some people don't like me calling them that, but like, that is who they are. They are swamp creatures. They are raggedy, dusty behinds. They have, and I call them this because they lack any integrity. They have no moral fiber in them, and they do not care about anybody and the damage that they do. Really, they are minions. But, that's just what I think about them. And so fear, their biggest fear is exposure. So when they do all these different people wrong, when they go around hurting everybody wrong, they know that they have to hide before they get exposed. Because if they get exposed, don't forget that we're just talking about the promotion and demotion that they would face. So they have to go undercover so that they are not exposed. Because if they're exposed, the work of their father is going to be exposed. If they're exposed, we get to the position where we are able to say, oh, all right, I see you and I know who you are. So I'm not intimidated by you. In fact, now that I know that you are a demonic entity, I know how to war against you. And I know how to come, I know how to come against you and call it for what it is. And not only am I going to come against you, but I'm going to come against the one who sent you. And I'm going to come in the name of the one who sent me. And so that's what they don't want you to know. The Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And it also tells us that, who the Son sets free is free indeed. We've been called to be set free. We were never called to be, in bondage to, especially a narcissist. Hello, people. No. To some raggedy, dusty fool. No, we were never called to be in bondage with anybody. In fact, that's what Christ came back for, to redeem us back to him, or back to our Father, right? So without knowledge, the narcissist fights. They fight us becoming knowledgeable. They fight us becoming aware of who we are and what, and the power that is within us. And this is what I need you to understand. And I know we have some really drastic and dramatic stories about what we've encountered at the hands of the narcissist. I saw somebody say that it's, I would have to scroll up to find her name, but she said it was painful when it's your parents. Yeah, K. Cole mentioned it, and I think there was another name prior to that, the infamous 47. Yeah, it's painful when it's your parents, but I want to just say something to those of you who encountered this from your parents. Consider this. Consider that the assignment that is on your life, consider that the call that is on your life, consider the purpose that is on your life is so powerful that the enemy had to devise a way that they would take you out before you even had the chance to form a thought, before you could even look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm somebody of value. If I wanted to stop something in its track, I'm going to get it at the beginning, before it gets a clue on anything. And so it's that fear that they have within them that if she is able to go and fly, if he is able to recognize who his true identity is, nothing is going to come out of it, because it's your purpose that they are trying to hold back. It is your call. It is the power. It is the assignment that is on your life. And so they try to belittle you so that you think that you're not good enough, so that you come into agreement with the curses that they're speaking over your life, so that you don't see the value in you, so that you feel like, I'm not good enough, I'll never be good enough, and you begin to adopt a mindset of accepting everything that is mediocre. And so why do you in all your royalty have to settle for anything that is mediocre? Why do you have to shrink so that they can be comfortable? No, this is not how this is going to play out, because again, he came to set you free, and knowledge is your power, and that is what they fear you getting the most. The narcissist fears, and not only the narcissist, because let's put that raggedy fool to the side, it's the one who sent him, their father, the devil, who does not want you to see yourself in the authentic light that you are. And so they try to siphon you right at the beginning. So you have to be willing to embrace the knowledge that is presented to you wherever it is fed to you, as long as it aligns with your spirit. Listen, it's time out for hooting and hollering and having a good time, because so much is at stake. Because it's not even your life that is at stake here. It's not just your soul. But what about the souls that have been assigned to your life? There are people who are waiting in valleys, waiting for you to rise up in the power that you have been called and purposed in to move forward, so that they can be set free through what is in you. Your story, your gifting, your talents, your creativity is what is needed. And that's why they fight you so hard. And here's the thing, I mentioned that, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So lack of knowledge simply means ignorance, right? And so if we remain in an ignorant state, who wins? It's your deliverance that the devil is fighting. That's why he goes so hard to keep you bound. That's why the narcissist has to continue to pop up in your life time and time again. That's why the narcissist has to continually hoover you and re-hoover you. I mean, it's like the dead keeps rising up. They ghost you, and then here they come starting to zombie you. Because why? Because they're tired of that punishment, that timeout that they're on, and they have no peace. Like, listen, guys, as much as it is for us, remember, the devil is the father of all lies. So there's a contract they make, and the narc, in his whatever state that they're in, his, hers, it, whatever the contract they make, they have to remain in line with that. And so, they cannot just give up, and they will not give up. You know how, like, sometimes you may smack a little kid, or you put them on a timeout, or whatever you do to punish your child, right? And then the child doesn't run away from you. In fact, they begin to run to you. I'm sorry, I'm this, I'm that. Right? They don't want that punishment anymore. They want to get on your good side. This is the narcissist. Consider this the narcissist, how the narcissist will continue to come after you so that they can receive that acceptance from their father, the devil. And so they have to go hard in the paint after you, because they crave that elevation. They're birthed out of the devil's desire to overthrow Christ in the kingdom, or God really from heaven. And so, just like how the devil thought he could overthrow God and take over heaven, it's kind of like the narcissist trying to also rise up in the ranks and be part, because they've been sold the fairy tale, they've been sold the lie, and so they have to, do whatever it is that they can to continue to, so that they continue to, maintain rank and peace within their demonic worlds. Emily, freedom is my North Star. Thank you to you and Tanya. Thank you so much, Emily. And yes, freedom, freedom is your birthright. You deserve to be free mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, in every manner. So continue to pull, to pull on knowledge that helps you be free and stay free. And it's important, guys, like, don't ever believe that this narcissist is ever going to change. They're not going to change at all. Not for nothing, not for you, not for their children, not for nobody. They can't do it for themselves. And we can't think that our love is so special that we can cure them from this. This is above you. And here's one thing. None of us here are called to be Jesus Jr. Not a single one of us has the assignment of Jesus Jr. on our lives. Yes, we're to love people with the love of Christ, and we're to show kindness and be Christ-like, but you are not Jesus. You cannot take on the task of trying to transform this narcissist. They are who they are. It's a choice that they made. And if you continue to entangle yourself with them, then you're going to get caught up in what's coming to them. And so now here's your option. Do I stay or do I go? Do I continue to entertain what they're doing, or do I set myself free because I deserve to be free? I don't deserve this type of entanglement. It's the ball is in our courts. We're the powerful ones here, especially when you have knowledge, especially when you know what you are dealing with. And so for everybody who is here that is fully aware that, listen, this is what we're dealing with, this is what we're battling, then now the charge is on you. What are you going to do with what is in your hands? We know that the word says, to whom much is given, much is required. Many of us in here have so much information. We have so much knowledge. What are you doing with it? A lot of times people fall back on, much. When we're talking about the much, they think it's financial. They think it's influence. Sometimes it's your power. The power is in your voice. The power is what is in your hands. But what is the voice that you're submitting to? What is the voice that you are allowing to dictate to you what you do with what is in your hand? If we take Moses, right? Let's consider the life of Moses. Moses, he had a stuttering problem, and it was so bad to the point that he didn't want to do the work that was before him. Now think about the work that was really before Moses. He was called to, lead the children to the promised land, a big assignment. But he's like, you're going to have to find somebody else, God, because, me, this stutter that I have going on, it's not going to work. I can't do this work for you. Really, Moses? There are people who are waiting on him. There was whole tribes that were waiting on him so that they could get it to the promised land. And you're no different. But what are you saying to yourself? And, it took Moses recognizing what was in his hand. What was in his hand? He was walking with the shaft the whole time, didn't know the power that was within his hand until the narcissists, the psychopaths, the sociopaths, Pharaoh and his army were behind him, and there's nothing but the Red Sea before him. Sometimes you feel like your back is up against the wall and you just don't know what to do. God, what am I going to do with where I am and what I have in front of me? I don't feel like I can make it through another day. I don't feel strong enough right now, and I need you. But what is in your hands? Sometimes you just got to be bold and activate your faith, activate your call, activate what you desire. Speak that thing and be bold and take that step forward, because everything that Moses needed was in his hand. Okay, let's go to Rahab. Rahab was a whore, a prostitute. And, she couldn't just be with everybody because she was a prostitute. But Rahab didn't allow what she was, what she knew she was, and what people knew who she was to be, to stop her from not only being used, but actually changing, changing her bloodline, really, because Rahab, now I'm trying to remember, she became the mother of, I think, who was it, Boaz? And now look at him. Look at the story that came from Boaz, from a whore, from a prostitute. That's what was birthed, but that put her into direct line, into Jesus's direct bloodline. So many times we may be the ones who are disqualifying ourselves because what we want to believe or listen to, that what people are saying to us. Of course, the flying monkeys are going to come and try to discredit you and talk down on you and act like you have nothing of value, nothing to give. But what do you believe? Are you going to believe them, or are you going to believe who you really are? Emily says you can't fix them because you didn't break them. Okay. Now, those are serious facts. Thank you so much, Emily. You can't fix what you didn't break. And you also should not feel the responsibility of fixing people who have hurt you. It's not your job to now go and try to help mend the person that violated you. There's nobody out here who needs to be going to, for instance, trying to comfort their rapist. Nobody does that, and it's no different because the narcissist rapes your soul. That's what it is. It's emotional rape. And, we just got to call things for what they are. That is emotional rape. And we have no business trying to comfort those people. Hey, Adrena. How are you? Thank you for joining. Adrena is on the other side of the world right now. So I'm guessing it's like about 3, 4 in the morning where you are, if I'm not mistaken. But thank you for joining us. But yeah, so listen, let me see this. Oh, yeah. I think the Bible might be a book on navigating narc abuse. The Bible has never made so much sense to me. It really does. Like there was, I remember reading the story of Samson and Delilah and just looking at it from a new light. Like, wow, Delilah really was used as a flying monkey to get the information from Samson. And what was Samson's problem? That he recognized the problems that were within her, but he continually accepted it and even participated in the lying that took place. So yeah, so it's really interesting. Oh, uniquely made. Thank you so much. We love you. You're beautiful. Joy to the world. Joy to the world. This is like my favorite, one of my favorite songs. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you too. Yeah. So we are more powerful than the narcissist, and it's they just work so hard. Really, what I really wanted to let you know is that why I think they work so hard to keep us and keep all their targets locked down. Why do they continue to come back? Why do they continue to hover? Why do they take you through the process of systematic devaluation and discard? Why is the trauma bond so essential? It's all essential because those are the tools that the enemy uses to fight your deliverance. Because the moment that you're delivered, and you don't need somebody to come and lay hands on you for you to receive deliverance. What you need is information. What you need, your breakthrough could just be in knowledge. So for many people, your breakthrough was the moment that you found out that, oh, going no contact is the key. Oh, this is narcissistic abuse. So I'm going to study this thing until I understand it. And I'm going to put what I learned into practice so that I can stop this joker in their feet. And that's what it is. That's what's important, so that we are no longer entrapped in these relationships and can continue to move forward. But now you have to ask yourself, this is the next part, that if I've been targeted this much, and for some people it's their whole life, from the very start, and everywhere you look there's a narcissist here, there's a narcissist there goes a sociopath, there is a psychopath. What do they want from you? We can sit here all day and talk about the many different reasons why, according to psychology, that we attract these people in their lives, and I can agree to it to some points. But we know that this is a spiritual thing. This is not, this is not an earthly battle. And so there has to be some spiritual meaning behind it. What does it say about you? Who are you? When you rise up in your power, when you seek out your healing, when you begin to claim and walk in the authority that is your birthright, when you accept the assignment that is on your life. And this is not to say that the assignment is to make you a preacher or any of those things. No, sometimes your assignment is to be a giver of joy. Sometimes it's to share information. Sometimes it's to be an inventor. Sometimes it's to create entertainment. Sometimes it's just to change the trajectory of somebody else's life. But whatever it is, what are you going to do about that? Because this is what the battle is about. Yes, it's about your soul, but it's also about the souls that are attached to you, because every gift has a receiver. And so if you are a gift to us, if you are a gift to the world, who are the receivers? It's us. So how do we receive if you keep your hand closed? How do you receive if you keep going back? How do we receive the gift that you are if you allow the voices of everybody else to tell you, hey, Rahab, you're a whore and nothing will come out of you? Oh, how would we receive anything if, like Moses, we all said that, listen, I got a stuttering problem, so I'm just not going to speak. I'm just going to seal my mouth and just leave it alone. How do we then receive? And if you do remain quiet and silent and don't move beyond, then what happens to you? What happens to you? Are you now abandoning yourself like the narcissist abandons them? Maybe not in the same sense, but you're abandoning your purpose. And so, are you going to be accountable for that someday? Think about that. You know, once you've been set free, it's so important that you do not go back. There is nothing changes. It's only more mayhem and murder that awaits. Nothing changes. The narcissist at no point in their lives is ever going to have the epiphany that says, hey, I'm going to do something different now. I'm going to change. I'm going to turn the leaf and be a better person. And I'm going to love this person. No, they may show you a glimpse of that and be good for 2 weeks, good for a month, and go back to their old ways, go back to how they were and who they used to be. But it's nothing permanent. They're only going to hurt you more than before. And this is only because they did not complete the job. They didn't finish the job. And so their fear is for you to wake up. Their fear is for you to embrace your authentic identity. Their fear is really for them to have to go back to their master and say, I failed my assignment, and receive punishment that is theirs. And now listen, people are so worried about what the narcissist karma is. Listen, that fool has karma written all over them, and karma will never, ever forget their address. Karma is coming for them, but we can't get so caught up on their karma. We cannot. We cannot allow ourselves to be distracted. We cannot allow that to become the focus that we may sometimes take our eyes of what we have to do, because don't forget, there are people who are waiting on you. Honestly, if it wasn't for some of the channels that are here, that are on this platform, I don't know if I would have recovered the way that I did. So I often wonder, like, let me see, like if Quinn didn't do his channel and didn't share the information, and I wasn't able to glean on the information that he shared, then would my recovery have happened the way that it did? If the books that I read, the authors just said, you know what, I got my freedom and I'm done, I'm not interested, would it have been as smoothly for me as it was? Because without that information, my people perish for lack of knowledge. How would I have known what I was dealing with? I mean, I was married to one and didn't even realize what was happening to me. Thought I had done the work to heal and to recover, only to find out, no, you didn't, because guess what? I encountered another one. Now, the joy about it is that the first time, the mask slipped, I was able to catch it for what it was. Now, I didn't know what it was, but it was through these platforms. It was through talking and interacting with people who are not ashamed to say, yeah, I've been there before, because sometimes we are embarrassed. Sometimes we are ashamed to say that this is what's happened to me. This is what I'm going through, because not everybody understands this. But, the most amazing thing is that more and more people are coming out with their story. And the more people that come out with their story, the more knowledge is passed around. And, so the more people that are being saved. Now, just because a lot of people are standing up and using their voice to empower others, it does not diminish the power that is in your voice, you know. And I'm not taking away from how difficult this process is, because I've been there and I understand the pain that is attached to the realization that everything was a lie. It's almost like it's a dagger that pierces through your heart. I get it. But turn that pain into something more. The biggest clapback that you can ever give that narcissist is to rise up. The narcissist fears that. They fear that the moment that you know who you are, it is over for them and you are totally out of their reach. This is when you now soar and you rise like the eagle that you are, and you join the convocation of other eagles, and you continue to, do great things in that realm out of their reach. And now they know that they got to go back to the swamp and deal with, their leader over there. They've got to go ahead and face that. I was actually going to do a shorter version of this in a video that I was going to put up today, but I just didn't get the time to record it. But what I wanted to say in that video was talk about how the narcissist, reminded me of hyenas. With a hyena, they they have to move in a pack to give the illusion of strength, to give the illusion of, being able to do anything. They have to hunt in a pack so that they can catch the prey, because if it's just one hyena on its own, they can't. And so sometimes we wonder, why are all these narcissists around me? Well, because they're hyenas also, and they have to move in a pack to take you down. So one person needs all those hyenas to take them down. Another thing about them is that they're like, I want to say vultures. Or, what, they like to go ahead and eat other people or steal other people's leftovers, try to drag what a lion may have caught and try to sneak off some pieces and go hide, go back to and the crazy thing is they live by lakes and by lakes and rivers, like, swamp lands. I'm just saying. And they hide their stolen goods there, just like the narcissist would come and, siphon souls and go back to the swamp. Like, I wasn't playing with Swampville. They will siphon souls and go back there so that they can hide and devour those souls, so that they can store them up, so that they can pack them up, so that they can do whatever it is that they do with the souls over there. That's what the hyenas do. They go in and they hide their stolen catches over there. That's just what they do. And they really have the audacity to think that they can come after the king of the jungle, the lion, the super empath, you. They think that they can come after that. But, it's the majesty, or the whole majestic aura of the lion that they're attracted to, that they feel like, is where the narcissist bites off more that they can chew. The lion can take them down by itself. But all those hyenas are after you, simply because they know that there is power here. And this one here, the Bible, true to the Bible talks about narcs. Narcs are people of usury, and that's absolutely, those are facts. Hi, Tanya. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing God's truth. You're such a beautiful and faithful woman of God. Thank you, my friend. I love you. Here's a great one. Regina Coleman Caston says, I need information on ways I can give back and help someone to get out of these abusive relationships. I just don't know where and how to start. I don't want another person to go through what I experienced. And so this is what we are talking about. We are talking about people coming out and making a change, because it's going to take all of us to make a change. Don't ever look around and say too many people doing this thing, because there's like over 7 billion people in the world. There is not enough people doing it. And it can be anything, wherever or whatever you platform or method you want to do. There are so many ways. My email is in the about section. Go ahead and shoot me an email, and I can, we can chat a little bit about what you want to do, what's on your heart, so that you can begin to do the work. Because listen, there are so many people that are waiting, that are in need of help, that no longer need to suffer. And sometimes, guys, you don't have to have a whole lot to give them. Sometimes it's just a smile that makes all the difference to somebody. When your smile can light up somebody else's world. And so it can really be those basic things. But if you see something, don't be afraid to say something. Don't be crazy and and put yourself in a situation. But do not, don't ignore what you're seeing, and just be mindful of what is going on around you. Sometimes, sometimes we're looking to do great big things, but it might be in your family. It might be that you need to fight this so that your children can have a different outcome. Sometimes if we're able to apply ourselves and put the information that we have into practice, then we are breaking cycles that our children will no longer have to go through those things, because we did the work to become knowledgeable, to break patterns and take our children out of certain situations and teach them better. And so that automatically changes their trajectory, as well as the children that they would have. It's a lot of the times we think like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I had a child with this crazy person. And then not only did I have a child with this crazy person, but I had two. But guess what? I'm by myself with these children, and now I'm in a better position to raise them away from the toxicity of of the co-parents. And so sometimes, we got to look for the little blessings like this in the things that we experience. And it's not an easy road, but it's really a worthwhile one. And a lot of the times, people will say, oh well, if it wasn't for the narcissist, I wouldn't be this strong. Let me tell you something. First of all, it's not because of the narcissist that you are this strong. You are this strong because that's who you are. That's who you've always been. That strength was just lying dormant. Since when is a narcissist ever given anybody anything, especially that is so valuable? Because if anything, they wanted your strength, and they didn't want you to be aware of it. They're well aware that you are strong. That's why they fear you. They know that you can issue the ultimate clapback. They don't want you to know who they are. That's why they go hiding and ducking when they do people wrong, so that they're not exposed, so that they're not put on blast. They don't want you to go supernova on them because they're scared. They're scared. And so they just do the best that they can. Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate you. Yeah. So H folks says, creepiest thing narcissist said after reaching out to me after 3 years, no contact. It's okay. You don't know me anymore. You can't make these things up. We don't know you anymore, and we don't want to know you anymore. And that's really the truth, And they do anything, they do the creepiest things to try to hoover you so that they can draw you in. And I really want you guys, please don't respond to these people. We're now going into listen, they've been out here acting up, not obeying any of the stay-at-home orders, not wearing their masks, doing whatever they want, catching COVID, spreading COVID, and just doing whatever they want. And now they still, they done made the people that they were living with angry and getting kicked out because they are who they are. They've been out, managing their social media accounts, online dating apps, meeting new people, just narking, doing what narcissists do. And now they need somewhere to stay. They need that prime supply back, and they want you. They want you because maybe they're not being kicked out of their home, but they would like a weekend home. You know how some people have like a winter home, a summer home. They want a winter home. They want a winter vacation spot. So when they get tired of the new supply, because the new supply is dwindling, and it doesn't have to be, maybe they had to recycle supply, but whomever they're dealing with, their effectiveness is wearing off. And the narcissists, they want that winter vacation home. Don't let it be you. They're not coming back because they love you. They're not coming back because they miss you. And I mean, sometimes you want to hear those words, but just not from the narcissist. Please do not accept that hoover. Do not allow them to come back. Do not, because all it is going to slow down your growth. It's going to slow down your healing. And if you are somebody who is freshly out of a relationship and you're still trying to process everything and figure out, is this really the truth? Yes, it is. It's the truth. No, they're not going to change. Okay, so you have kids with them. Well, so do I. They still don't change. Oh, they bought the kids some clothes. That's nice. My ex just sent some money a few weeks ago, not because he cared about the kids, but that was how he wanted to hoover. No, they don't change, and they're not going to change. They are going to just be the way that they are, and that's it. They're not there with any good intentions. Please do not accept that hoover. You are worth more. And think about it like this. We talked about how the narcissist is going to be rewarded for oh, I love this. Hold on, Emily. She said, I'm not an Airbnb, reservation denied. Thank you for saying that. You're not an Airbnb and the reservation should be denied. However, there is a reservation that needs to be made. So, you know that Tanya and I have been talking about doing a retreat. We have finally found the right place for us to host this retreat, and we are looking at March the 19th. So, yes, March the 19th is when we would like to host this retreat in Houston. And so we're all going to go out to Houston for the retreat. We found a very beautiful Airbnb. And so by Friday, we will have more information on how you can sign up to join us for this beautiful retreat and enjoy this beautiful location with us while we continue to, break out of this cycle, while we continue to focus on our healing and, and doing the work that is going to require for us to totally be free and to stay free. Because listen, the narcissists, no, they're just illegal. And we are actually operating in illegal, we're also illegal when we allow them to think that they have, when we allow them any access in our lives. Because at the end of the day, we know that, these guys are little minions. And so what do you have in common with a minion? Absolutely nothing. So we can't entertain that. It's time to, just shut the door and let it be done and be gone. We are not going to entertain the narcissist. So Kay Cole says, at this point, the supernova would be earth shattering from me. And that's what I'm talking about. That, yeah, because sometimes you have to let them know that I'm not playing with you and I'm done. And I need you to get it in your thick skull or through your thick skull that I'm not playing with you. And it is okay, if you are at that place and at that level and you can do it and not, not crucify yourself afterwards and worry about what you did. And I think, it's normal if you do, but like, if you got to shut that joker down, then you have to shut that joker down. And, and the crazy thing is, even though we may think that, oh, that super, that when we go supernova on them, that they are going to stay away. You got to understand, this guy is, or these minions, male and female, right? These minions are going to be tormented, that they are going to want to come back at you anyway. Because remember, they have a master to answer to. Their master gave them a job to do. If we are employing people, right, and we are actually paying them or we are giving them things to do a certain job, we expect the job to be done. So even when they're employed by the devil, they have to produce what they were contracted to do. Period. They have to produce it. So now how do they go back and say, oh, well, she decided to go supernova on me, or he went supernova, so I don't think I want this one. Can you give me another assignment? No, fool. Go do the job that I told you to do, is what they're going to be told. And so they will continually come back. You may not know, but they're watching. And during that whole love bombing, when everything was good, they were already looking at your life in ways to see, how can I do this? And now you know that these minions work in tandem with other minions. These demonic entities work in tandem with other spirits. So while the narcissist may have been doing one thing, you have a monitoring spirit, you have a familiar spirit, you have different spirits that are going to be at work, territorial spirits doing the work to continue to watch you. And, so don't feel and say that, oh, well, I'm not being watched. Yes, you are. Yes, you are being watched. And it is important that you, again, set yourself free with information so that you are not just protecting you. Because when we get into the realm of talking about territorial spirits, familiar spirits, monitoring spirits, it's not just about you. This is now your bloodline. This is about your children's. It's generational. So, do we want to have history repeat itself? Or are we going to deal with this thing once and for all? Why, when we look back at some families, things like, childhood sexual assault is a common theme in that home? Why is it that alcoholism is a common theme in that home? Why are these homes with no fathers? Why are the mothers strung out on drugs? Why are these patterns so repetitive? Cycle, generation after generation after generation. Why? And they continue to, not break out of this. Yeah. Okay. We want to say that it's the choices that they're making. Okay. Okay. So babies that are born crack babies, okay, they didn't make the choice, but they've got to deal with the consequences of it. And now they've got to be reared by those who are like that. Like, they want to finish the job that they started. That is why the narcissist simply does not let go. That is why they do what they do. That is why they work as hard as they do. Thank you so much, Mike, from Personal Growth Now. I appreciate you. So, Mike has the channel Personal Growth Now, right? And it was yesterday's video, I believe. He gave 24 affirmations, just to speak positive things and to reprogram yourself. And I think I believe I told him that, this would be something that would be nice to listen to on repeat, like especially while sleeping, because I like to listen to uplifting things as I sleep so that, I can feed my spirit during those times. So I usually go to sleep on the word, but I thought for a moment that, this is something that is positive and that actually helps adjust your thinking, especially when you're somebody who likes to, or who has a tendency to talk down on yourself, stuff like that. So Micah's channel is really, it's really uplifting and encouraging as far as helping you see your true self, as far as helping you change and elevate the way that you think about yourself. So here's the one. They have no shame in their game. Scare the hell out of the narcs, and they will think that one day they will come back and finish their deed. That's exactly, listen, they will try to come back and finish their deed. And that's why when the narcissist comes back, they come back. They don't come back by themselves. They got to bring now their other buddies who also failed in their assignment. So it's kind of like, let's do this group project here, because then they bring, Tanya had a video. Tanya, what was the name of the video where you talked about, when one, and funny, I listened to it again yesterday, where one narcissist goes out. I mean, like, when one demon is cast out, they come back with 7 more, they come back as a legion. And so that's what's going to happen. That's why so when we sever ties, when a discard happens, however it happens, and they go their separate way and you accept them back, the love bombing is going to be more intense, because they're not just coming back by themselves. They had to get reinforcement, especially if you're somebody who's been no contact and has been doing the work to, to heal and to get better. They come back with, the narcissist comes back with its buddies, its legion friends, so that, thank you, Juan, so that they can come back and, do a more effective job at destroying you, at destroying your core. Don't ever forget, this is about your life. This is about your soul. They are there to do the job, to finish the job. And so, that's why we know that some people, they don't make it out of this okay. Some people lose their lives. Some people do not make it okay or out okay. Some people, their whole mind, their whole mental state is altered, and they can, for them, they may never ever go back to how they were prior to the years and years of abuse that they receive. And so it's important that when you go, stay gone. That love bombing will be sweet, it will be intense, it'll be everything that you ever wanted, but at the same time, that devaluation will be hard, it will be painful, it will it will be soul shattering. And for some people, they never able to get all the pieces of their soul back together again. And that's where the narcissist begins to feel like, I've got the victory, so they can go ahead and do that discard. And when they feel like, or when the enemy, their father, sees that, yes, son, daughter, you did the job that I sent you to do, and so now it's time for me to reward you. It's time for me to give you your, to upgrade you into the next realm of, minions. And there's different types of names that they have. In the book that I mentioned earlier, she really does a great job of breaking it down and explaining how they rank in the demonic world. And so, that book is really interesting, and it was a good eye opener, as well as confirmed a lot of things for me. I'm still reading it, and this would be my third time at it. But like I said, I'll share that book again tomorrow. But really, yeah, you've got to stay gone, because it's never any sweeter. It's never any sweeter at all. They've really come back and tried to finish the job. And that is simply because they fear you walking in the trueness of who you are. They fear you walking in your complete self, in complete knowledge of the power that is within you. Your power didn't just come out of nowhere. We are refined in the fire. Job said, though you slay me, yet will I trust you. Even, and when we think about Job and his story, when everything was going wrong, everything was just falling to by the roadside. Everything was just, like if it's not raining, it's pouring, right? Everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and he had like nothing left, and his body was sick and full of the sores and everything, and his friends, the ones who are there, who are supposed to be there to uplift you and to encourage you and to help you keep your mind right, began to tell him, hey, but like Job, you thought that you were all this and all that, and you had to have sinned because you're not as righteous as you think that you are. You're not all of these things. No. So whose side were they on at that point? Whose team were they on? Were they on Job's side? Because it doesn't sound like it to me. Or were they being used as flying monkeys? I'm just saying, like, whose side were they on? And so be very careful and mindful of those that are around you, and what they're saying and how they're speaking to you, and how they're really feeding your soul. This is not, your life is your life. You only have one. When we close our eyes, that's it. There is no do-over. There's no, let me just, give me 5 more years. It just doesn't work like that. And when, I've seen so many people pass. I've held so many hands as people pass, is part of what I do. And, one of the most painful things is to sit back and to see the sadness in their eyes, because there are so many things that they weren't able to do. There's this one couple, and I'll never forget these two people for as long as I know. I have never seen a man love his wife like he did. They were married for 70 years, and he worked so hard his whole life to provide a beautiful life for his wife and their children, and he did a great job at that. They wanted for nothing at all. And his whole thinking was that I'm going to dedicate my life to working until I retire, and I want to be as successful as I can. And they were very successful. They were very well off. And once I retire, I'm going to now spend my time with my wife, and we are going to travel the world and do all these beautiful things. The day that he retired, his wife got the diagnosis that she had cancer, and there was no traveling the worlds together. That was always his biggest regrets, And I was with him the day his wife passed, and then I was with him when it was his turn to go. That remained his biggest regret. I want to encourage you not to put off the things that you're passionate about. I want to encourage you to embrace, yourself, and embrace the people that love you, and be present. A lot of the times when we're coming out of these relationships, it's almost like we're in the fog, and we're not always sure about ourselves, and what it is that's going on around us, and we just, our heads are not right. Get your head back on right. You're the one who has the power to do this. And sometimes you're the only one who's going to help you get the information. The information is important. But once you have it, what are you going to do with what is in your hand? How are you going to allow it to serve you? How are you going to allow it to serve your family? How are you going to use that information so that it's not you in the bed saying, I wish I would have done things differently. I wish I wouldn't have spent so many years with the narcissist. Well, guess what? We all wish that. And it doesn't matter if it was 50 years or 2 months. It's time that we spend with them. But what are we going to do with what we learned within that time? Are we going to now turn around and look at the rest of our life as the best of our life because we no longer have those people bringing us down? Are we going to do that? Or are you going to allow them to continue to win? If you choose to go and live the rest of your life as the best of your life, they will forever be tormented because they did not win. Remember, they fear you coming into realization of your power, of who you are. And, I know, um, I've shared before, I have the video about the dying narcissist. And people were like, oh, well, you should have prayed for them, this and that. I did. I did. And I want to tell you one story before I end. So I remember one day being called by my pastor and saying, I need you to come with me. I want to go to the hospital and pray and do hospital ministry. So I was like, all right, cool. And I went. We met at the hospital and we went into this floor, and we walked into one room. And literally, when I walked into that room, the lady was, she was like, she was end of life. They had already started the hospice care for her. And when we walked into their room, there was so much heaviness in that room. And it literally, like, I looked in the room and I looked around and it just seemed so dark. And I was saying to people, like, I was like, I looked at pastor and I was like, can you, and he's just looking at me like, and I'm just like, it doesn't feel right in here. There was a heaviness, there was a darkness, like literally it felt like it was dark. But in these hospitals, they have these bright lights and everything. So I was like, why is it so, like this in here? And in my spirit, all I felt is pray. And I began to pray. But the thing is that as I prayed and as I, try to get further in my prayer, it was like there was a barrier, and there was I couldn't penetrate it no matter what I did. And sometimes I said, okay, well then, when I feel that, sometimes when I feel that resistance in that realm, then I'm like, okay, then I try to get into a place where I just worship. But even then I still couldn't penetrate it. There was nothing. And so why I'm saying all of this is that we can't. Again, we're not Jesus Jr. We cannot save them. We do not have the power to save them. I'm not here telling you what this woman, what her fate was, because again, heaven and hell is not mine. I can't tell you that. But what I will tell you is there was a lot of resistance in that room. Sometimes people think that it's easy just to go ahead and pray and everything's just going to disperse and things are going to go back to normal, how we want them. But that's not how it works. Everybody is going to be accountable for what they did. We all are going to reap what we sow. We're all going to be accountable for what we did and what we used, or how we used what is in our hands. The real funny thing is that it's not even funny. It's really sad, actually. We spent time in that room. We prayed and we left. And we went into the very next room, right next door. And it was night and day because it was bright. There was a light in there that was just like, wow. And the atmosphere was so light and it was so peaceful. It was just so different. And so, even in that room, she was at end of life. She was on end of life care. And we had to, we got to praying, and you could just, how you literally can feel like God heard me today. Like I felt my prayers ascend to heaven and they did not come back. And that's just how it felt in that room. And it's like, and it bothered me the rest of that day. Like, why was this room? Why was the force so hard that prayer couldn't penetrate it? Why? And I still ask that question, why? Because it's not the last time that I experienced it. That was just the first time that I encountered it. But it's about the choices that we make. It's about the lifestyle that we live. It's about the spirits that we come, or we come into agreement with. And so, yeah, we can pray for the narcissist, but they have work to do for themselves. And so, we're not Jesus Jr. We can only save ourselves and save those who are around us and those who are assigned to us, but it's important because somebody is waiting for you, and you may not even realize this, but it's my sincere hope and it's my prayer that you do use what is in your hand. And then when you do it, that you would be able to see the fruit of your hand, that you would be able to see the fruit of your pain, that you would be able to see, oh, this is why I had to do why I had to go through what I did. This is how, the Bible tells us that he will use what was meant for evil for our good. And sometimes what is good for you is going to be good for somebody else, because you have been moved from a place of pain and placed into a powerful posture where now there's an overflow, and it's in that overflow where you are able to now help other people grow and be rejuvenated and find themselves. So, don't stop, because these narcissists do horrible things to us, and they leave people in terrible positions. But don't give up hope. When somebody's contemplating suicide, and I've been that person before, a lot of people will say that it takes a weak person, or it's a weak person that contemplates suicide. But I beg to differ, because I don't think I was weak when I tried to kill myself. I was just tired. I was just done, and I needed that pain to end. I wanted all of it to shut down, because I didn't have the tools to process what was going on the inside of me. And so I just said to myself, like, listen, whatever is ahead of us, then that's what I'll deal with. And whatever's ahead of me, I'll just have to face that, because I've already done this life and I've already faced this. It can't be that bad. But that's because I had lost hope. I'm here to encourage you, don't lose hope. There is always hope. And a lot of the times we're facing a lot of drastic things. And especially in this time that we're in, we have, COVID is out here being COVID and breaking hearts, because there's so much pain and so much loss and so much devastation. And not only loss of life, but like loss of work, loss of livelihood. And then on top of it, we have the narcissist just narking and doing things that hurt people and harm people and cause so much pain. But rest assured that it's not always going to be like this. There are ways for us to overcome. And the first thing is holding on to your faith. It's holding on to your hope. And I know sometimes it seems like I can't, but what do you do? And this is a genuine question. What do you do when you feel like I have nothing left to give? What do you do? I remember I hit a really low place in my life, and the only thing is, this point I was a mother, so I had children, and I guess I still had a lot of healing that I needed to do, and I had a lot of healing to do, and I knew that, falling back on just wanting to disappear and just end my life wasn't really an option, because I couldn't leave my children. They were young, and they would have had nobody if I did that. And that was the only reason why, at that point, that I chose to hold on. But, our children deserve parents. They deserve mothers and fathers who are going to be well, because they know when we are not well. And so, I want to encourage you that do what you can, do everything that you can to be whole, to heal, and to know that you can recover yourself, and you can make yourself whole again. And it's not hard. And I was trying to figure out, why did I start this? Because once I get talking, my mind can kind of go many different directions. But what I wanted to say is this: For me, what was my defining moment? What was my place of hope? What was my place of rest? Was in the Word. And it was the same pastor that I was talking about that, called me and said, let's go pray at the hospital, is the same one that gave me this scripture. And it was Matthew chapter 13, verses 24 through 30. Now, this is the parable of the wheat and tares. I'm going to share this and then I'm going to go because I got to be up in a few more hours. But it's a parable about the wheat and the tares. And, and there's so many ways that this scripture can be looked at. There's the way that the theologians will look at it, but this is how this spoke to me. And this is where my hope came from. And I want to share that and leave that with you tonight. It starts off with a farmer that plants the seed, and, he gives the seed to his workers, and they plant the seed, and they believe that this seed is a quality seed, right? And so it starts to grow, and then some weeds, some tares start to grow up with the weeds, and they're like looking at the farmer like, yo, bro, what's up? Because I thought you said this was quality. I thought you said this was premium seed. Why are there these weeds here? Should we just pull them up now? And he tells them, no, hold up. Allow it to grow. Allow the wheat to grow strong before you begin to separate it from the tares. Before you can't go ahead and pull them out at the same time, because you might pull out some of the good weeds while you bring out the tares. And so they're like, okay, fine. And so it was only when the wheat was mature that they were able to separate it and, burn the tares and then do what they needed to do with the wheat. How did this speak to me? I looked at the farm and I considered that, well, how this spoke to me was like God, right? God knows the authenticity of his seed. That is his children. That is you. He knows who you are, because the word tells us that before he formed you in your mother's womb, he knew you. And when he knows you, it's not just like knowing, oh, that's Joy over there, or that's Kay Cole, that's personal growth. No, he knows you. He knows you intimately. He knows your proclivities. He knows your potential. That's because, and you only get to know somebody who you've spent time with. So that means before you were ever in your mother's womb, he knew you, and that he spent time with you before there was ever time in your life. Before you ever were a thought to your parents, he had already spent time with you, and he took you and spoke into your life. Before he ever breathed life into you, you were on the mind of Christ before you were ever formed. And so he knew that the world needed you that much, that I'm going to step out of what I'm doing right now to make my child, because I need this person in the earth realm. So he takes what he knows is authentic and he puts it in the earth. And the scripture says, while men slept, an enemy came in. For me, I'm saying while everybody in my life was rocked to sleep, I was sexually assaulted as a child. What is your story? When did somebody come in and wreak havoc on your life? When did the perpetrator come in? Was it the narcissist? Who was it? But while men slept, the enemy came in and planted seeds of confusion, seeds of doubt, seeds of fear, seeds that are contrary to who God said that you are. But guess what? The seeds begin to grow too, because they're being nurtured. They have all the nutrients that they need to grow, just like the weeds. And here come the flying monkeys. Here come the workers, like, yo, bro, to the farmer, like, what's up? This is now like Job's friend saying, like, listen, I thought you said that, you always thought you were so righteous, and you always thought that, you were God's favorite. Well, look at you now. And this is like, the voices that spring up in our head that tell us that we're not good enough, that tell us that, we can never be anything more than we are, or we are all that we are going to be is who we see ourselves at. But it never one time said the farmer was ever worried. In fact, I believe bro did like this, shake the dirt off his shoulder and be like, listen, I know my seed. God knows who you are. He spent time with you. You were in his mind so much. The word tells us that the number of hairs on your head He knows the numbers, not even like, oh, you have 50,000 billion pieces of hair on your head, but he's numbered each one of them. That's really intimate. That's knowing somebody. That's why he didn't care. He knew Job. So he wasn't worried about who came Job's way. He didn't care. He was like, listen, go after Job. He's got everything he wants. He's got everything he needs. So if, go after him. Go after the one who has much, because sometimes they think like, if you go after the one with nothing, what do they have to lose? So go after Job. Job didn't change his confession, and God never changed his confession either. So even while the workers came and they said what they said and they were dissing the seed, God never changed his confession. He does not change his confession over your life. It remains the same. He's not man that he would lie, neither is he the son of man that he would repent. He said that you are the apple of his eye. He calls you fearfully and wonderfully made. You are hemmed in his garment, and you have his word to call upon. You can do great things. You are going to do great things because greatness is attached to your name. And what are you going to do with what is in your hands? It doesn't matter what's happened. Remember, you're an authentic seed, and your seed has to yield fruits. It must, because you are going to be accountable for that. And so we don't want to sit back and, just receive a crown just to have a crown. You better get the best crown because you did the best work that you could. Knowledge is power, and that is what the enemy does not want you to have. That is why he fights your deliverance, so that you are not set free. But I declare today that in the name of Jesus, you will no longer be bound by the hurt, the pain, and the lies of the enemy, that you will see yourself as the person who God created and designed you to be, that you will no longer walk in fear, that lack is not your portion, and that you will recover your authentic identity and begin to see yourself in the eyes of Christ, because the mind of Christ is upon you. And so now I'm encouraging you to seek those things that are above and not beneath. You are the head and not the tail. You're above all of this. And so now it's time for you to allow your mind to catch up to where you truly are and use what's in your hands. So I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was a bit random that I popped up tonight, but I'm so glad that you came to join me, and I wish you all a restful night and that you would have awesome sleep and have a prosperous week. I can't wait to hear from you and to hear about what you are doing with what is in your hand. I'm excited about what is in your hand because I know what is in your hand is fruitful. And I am looking forward to hearing back from you with what is being done in your life. So thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you on Tuesday night. So until then, you take care of yourselves. Good night.